What is going on, guys? Counterful here with my Thursday night prediction, which I'm terrible at. This week it's Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Minnesota Vikings. Looking forward to this game. Both teams have been very surprising. Not maybe record-wise for the Vikings, the Buccaneers top run defense. They went from the worst one to the top one. They got a big matchup against Adrian Peterson, so I really like this Thursday night game. I think it's going to be my favorite one so far, even though I said that last week about the Seahawks 49ers game, which was a good game. But this game, I think, is going to be... excuse me. I think this game will be really good to watch because both teams have been pretty exciting this year. They're both teams I've been watching very closely because I have Doug Martin of fantasy, the starting running back for the Buccaneers, who is a beast, but the Buccaneers don't use him a lot, and I think that's kind of a downfall because a lot of their losses, like, they've been close in a lot of games. They've made comebacks. They've made everything, but they refuse to use Doug Martin. Like, at the goal line last week, they used LeGarrette Blount 3 times. He didn't get in. He got pushed back. So, I think the Buccaneers are going to have they're facing the Vikings, the top 10 defense. So, they need to establish the run early. I think Josh Freeman, that secondary is really, really good. And if what that secondary does is make them throw dingy dunks, which is Josh Freeman's kryptonite. So I think the Buccaneers are going to struggle this game. I think for them to win, they need to establish a consistent running game. Doug Martin's been one of the most consistent runners in the league late this year. He had probably his best game last week with over 150 total yards. I just feel they're not using him as that much. They should use him more because that offensive line is built to run block, and I think if there's any game they need the running game, it's this game. For the Vikings to win, it's simple. It's just that defense has to play like the defense. That offense has got to play conservative. Ponders, and he's had 2 games where he's had 100 yards passing, but that's because his defense showed up and the running game showed up. So if Adrian Peterson doesn't, if that run defense actually can stop Adrian Peterson and Ponders don't force a throw in the ball, it's not like he's a bad thrower, but he hasn't been that great in some games. But also facing the Buccaneers, who have one of the worst pass defenses in the league, without their top corner. So I'd figure they'd probably go pass heavy for the first couple drives, see how it works. They got Percy Harvin, who in my mind right now is the MVP. He leads the league in receptions. I think not targets, but receptions. He's a electrifying special teams player. I think he's had 2 kick returns called back this year. I think he's had like 2 punt returns and 2 kick returns, or something like that. He's having a ridiculous year. The Buccaneers definitely need to stop him to stop that passing game. But I think the Vikings win. I think they're the better defense, overall defense. That secondary has been really good this year, especially with the situation with rookies at safety and not too good of a corner. They have Winfield, but he's up there in age, but he's doing a really good, nice season. But I think the Buccaneers' downfall in this game is that pass defense. And the fact that they pretty much they're always going down and making comebacks. And usually when they get up, they pass the ball still. I think they need to establish the running game against the Vikings. But nevertheless, I think the Vikings win this game because really they're the better team. They're one of the better teams in the league at the moment. I think just both sides of the ball are just gonna be too much for the Buccaneers to handle. It might be a close game. The Buccaneers have been coming back in a lot of games last week. They should have tied the game up, but the referee blew in a call. So the Viking, I want to call them the Viking Beers, whatever. The Vikings had to control the lead too. The Buccaneers are not a team to mess with when they're down. But that is it. I picked the Vikings to win the game. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you Saturday for the week 8 predictions, and then I'm actually going to do a mid-season award thing since pretty much we're at mid-season. I'm going to do it probably Tuesday or Wednesday. So be on the lookout for that. I hope